Sequester. What is it? It's a big taboo word right now, and everybody's talking about it. Not a lot of people know what it is. Nobody really cares what it is until it affects them personally. I'll admit, I was one of the first people who didn't know what it was, didn't care what it was, until I got affected personally. Most of what I learned, most of what I'm going to talk to you about, I learned today from the Washington Post online, an article by Dylan Matthews, and CBSNews.com, an article by Lucy Madison. What is sequester? Sequester, as defined by Merriam-Webster, means 1, to set apart, 2, to place in custody, and 3, to hold a solution, usually by inclusion. And that's how it's defined when you hear about juries being sequestered. But how are we defining it today? We're defining it today by cuts in government spending. The sequester all started back in 2011. It was passed as part of the Budget Control Act of 2011, also known as the Debt Ceiling Compromise. Congress wanted to cut $1.5 trillion in government spending over 10 years. Now, this was supposed to happen back in December 23rd of 2011. They pushed it back due to funding the war on terrorism and trying to combat the recession the country was in at the time. The recession continued, the war continued, they kept pushing it back. As of January 1st, 2013, it was going to go back into effect again. They pushed it back one more time, saying no later than March 1st, 2013, and no going back this time. March 1st rolled around, the House couldn't get to a compromise, and the sequester went into effect. Now, on March 1st, when the sequester went into effect, we're going to cut $85 billion in government spending in 2013. As you can see, $43 billion of that is going to be in the defense budget, $29 billion will be the discretionary fund, $10 billion in the Medicare fund, and $4 billion in various other federal spending. So what? Those are just numbers. Nobody really understands what that means. Well, the domestic discretionary fund refers to programs such as WIC and food stamps, which are aimed at bettering the lives of impoverished families by providing food and necessities that they can normally afford. When you think the defense budget, you're thinking guns, tanks, planes, and that it will be affected, but on a more personal level, in that defense budget, the military deemed they were going to cut tuition assistance. So, if you were not registered for classes by March 1st, 2013, your tuition was cut off. Now, that's going to affect 250,000 troops nationwide. 11,000 right here in our area at Fort Hood. That's really going to impact a college like Central Texas College, where most of the students are military. Also in that defense budget, there was a scholarship fund for soldiers, there was a scholarship for children of soldiers who were killed in Iraq and Afghanistan. That is on the chopping block. Along with that is also federal funding for programs such as Head Start and Pre-K for military dependents. Federal unemployment is going to be cut. Now, it's not going to affect state unemployment, such as in Texas, because most of our employment here in Texas is federally funded, but a state like Pennsylvania, over 11% of their unemployment is going to be affected by those cuts. Also, federal jobs. Right here in the state of Texas, we are in the top 5 states that are going to be affected by these budget cuts for jobs. As you can see, we're going to lose between 100 and 200,000 jobs in the state of Texas alone. 800,000 DOD civilian employees are going to be furloughed, which means they have to take 1 extra day off a week unpaid. The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, are all going to be affected by these cuts. You're planning on taking a summer vacation? You can go ahead and cancel your plans. Federal parks, such as Big Bend National Park, are losing federal funding. and their employees are also going to be furloughed. Wildlife parks, refuges rather, are going to be are affected by these budgets. The parks themselves will not be closed. However, they will no longer be open to people going to see the parks. And finally, if you're planning on going to Washington, D.C., you might as well go ahead and cancel your plans because the White House has ceased all White House tours. So what is Congress doing about this? Okay, Obama was quoted as saying in the Washington Post on March 15th as saying, "They don't trim the fat, they cut into the muscle and into the bone, like research and development being done right here that not only gives a great place for research to come apply their trade, but also end up creating all kinds of spin-offs that normally would create jobs and wages." Congress, after the upheaval about the tuition assistance, has told the military, go ahead and make cuts other places, do not cut tuition assistance. But that'd be like me going to your house and telling you your kids don't want spaghetti, make something different. It's not my place to go tell you what you're going to do in your own home. And that's what Congress is trying to do to the military right now. Congress, both sides of the House, Republicans and Democrats, they have plans, but they don't want to work together. So right now, all they're doing is talking and nothing's being accomplished. Now, I'm not here to tell you what side you should take in this whole debate, but I want you to look at what is being cut and see how it's going to affect your life, and make a decision for yourself. Thank you.
Good job.
Very good.